welcome to Layback with Betfair. Joined by the A-team, we're back. Hello and welcome to another edition of Layback with Betfair. Group 1 racing continues at Eagle Farm this week, headlined of course by the Group 1 Queensland Oaks. We're going to take a deep dive into that terrific program of racing, and the two men that are going to help me do that is Tom Haylock, of course, the Lord Mayor of Betfair, but we might just hold you there for a second, Tom, because we're going to go to the Prince of Pakenham, Reece Goodwin, who, if you haven't checked, is the #1 tipster on the Betfair hub at the moment for May. 36% strike rate, 68% profit on turnover. The guy's low flying. Reece, welcome, mate.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, something for the battlers. Just goes to show you don't have to have much idea to still win something.
Can we check the stats?
It was really hard. It was really hard for me to articulate those stats.
I wouldn't audit.
There's nothing more than I like was giving Reece a lick, and I had to.
Carl put it in, and he didn't put anyone's name by it, so we all had to go in and actually look at it to see who it was. And then you're like, damn, never got to say well done.
I know.
Well, I think I won it the month before, so
well, that's good.
Now
footy's turn.
I'll just continue to host the show and drive this ship and drive the winners here, boys. It hasn't been a fruitful Queensland Carnival for me, but I've got a good feeling about this weekend. There's something about it, perhaps getting back onto some drier ground at Eagle Farm, and hopefully the track can play a little bit more genuine for punters, but plenty more of that in the show when we get to that program, because we've got to go to the lay bin first, and this is, Tommy, your time to shine, the Lord Mayor of Betfair. And what do you got for us this week?
Have you noticed no laptop on the lap?
I was obviously away last week, and I may have caught a couple of the shorts because I didn't get to tune in and watch the whole show. But I did notice that the laptop, the feedback's been taken on board from our leading team session, and you've now purchased a table. So congrats.
BYO.
Carl bought a table for me, so we're good. Lay-bins, French Open. As a whole, they can get in the lay-bin. No one cares. But honestly, the crowds have been awful. There was a women's match with Osaka and Spytek that had half the crowd missing. There was no one there. It's been interrupted by rain. Hecklers from the crowd. People have been spat on. They've banned alcohol at the French Open in court.
Oh.
The whole thing's a drama.
Till getting a lay-in.
Golf that happened a couple of months ago, and the
Live
people went
golf.
berserk.
Yeah,
when
live
they cut
golf.
off the alcohol.
That's a long way from the French Open.
So, yeah, it's not good there. But I'm putting tennis players in the lay-in as well, because I think they're a bit precious. Nick.
Has there been more?
I reckon you've done this before.
I think there may be, but they're precious, aren't they?
I think it's a different dynamic.
The guy up in the back row is walking around. Surely he can still serve.
Individual sports stars are built different to team sports stars. That's all I'll say on
Live Golf, to your point, has proved that golf doesn't need to be dead quiet. They play music there and drunk people and yelling and screaming. Tennis just needs to get with the times, I think.
There's still room for tradition, but I think we can meet somewhere.
And what
we
do
can
they play
move
on
somewhere.
The French Open anyway? Like dirt?
Clay.
Just get some grass.
This is extraordinary.
Dirt's getting in the lay bin now.
Yeah. All right. So the French Open's on dirt, and that's in the lay bin for Tom Haylock.
Why would you play on clay when you can do it a hardcore?
What have you got for us, Reece?
Yeah, I've got something this week.
Do you?
Yeah, unbelievable, I know. And it's just the start of the Origin last night, the start time. I was ready for bed.
Who won?
8:05 was it?
Well, I don't know because, 8:05, meant to be 8:05. It never starts on time, apparently. I know there was a bit of a market on how late they'd run, but
Is that right?
8:05. You asked who won. I said I wouldn't have a clue. I was well into bed by then. I just think that's a crazy time.
I flicked off after 7 minutes once the player was sent from the ground. Queensland flogged them. Yeah, once the player was sent, it was game over.
Yeah,
it's a tough gig.
100%.
Yeah, it's not like the world game where you get 90 minutes, and if you get a player red carded, you can sort of park the bus.
Yeah,
you're just sitting ducks, aren't you? With a man down.
You're in a bit of bother.
Yeah. Anyway, how that player passed a HIA is still beyond me because he got knocked into next millennium. That's a lay bin. Let's move into Eagle Farm, boys.
You didn't have one this week.
No, I was just bouncing off yours.
Good. Yeah.
This is what I do. I just drive the show.
Well, there's usually only room for 2 lay-bins, and he never produces.
So I've actually brought
that's
something.
Right. I'm conscious of time because we've got to dive so deeply into this Eagle Farm card, and we're going to preview the majority of the program, Tommy. But before we do that, let's talk about the track, because last week it was a real watch and see for punters as the day went on in terms of how the track played, and we only had to look at the Group 1 in the Derby to see Warmonger absolutely pants them from the widest of wide draws.
Yeah, so the tracks have been pretty bad up there, to be honest, and I keep harping on it. But onto a good surface today with the rail at 2.5, which I don't see rail movements in half that often.
Thought so.
So rail at 2.5, which is interesting. It has been fenced off even at Doomben and Eagle Farm throughout. So you just got to monitor. There's a couple of horses drawn 3 and inside. That's I actually still think they get their chance, and the barriers might be overplayed a little bit because they can still get off the fence in the straight and cut the corner and potentially late. So it is interesting, but it might be a bit of mixed form off some pretty wet tracks back onto a good surface, drying weather. So yeah, I'm a bit apprehensive, but we can lay it back there, which is good.
Yeah, and even with the inside, there's obviously still that natural wear and tear there
Yep.
from last week, regardless of how nice the weather's been and the drying conditions and the good track. So it'll certainly be a monitor, but we don't get that. We don't get that ability here to monitor because it's a Thursday and we've got to find some winners for our layback with Betfair family. We'll kick off in race 3. It's the Phoenix for the 2-year-olds, 1,500 metres. Azula won this race last year for the Waterhouse and Bott team. BSP'd $4.10. That was 17% better than tote price. You want to have a really good grounding coming into a 2-year-old 1,500 metre race like this, don't you, Tommy, like Azula did, or perhaps show a hint of class like Political Debate did when winning the year before. How are you assessing? Is this a 2-year-old race that you want to get involved in?
It's a 2-year-old race. I'm not confident about who wins, but I think the favourite is way too short here.
Amelius
is the runner. 1,200 to 1,500 metres. Back marker, I think it's a big ask alone, but got to go Rosehill, Eagle Farm. Eagle Farm can get some horses unstuck. It's a tricky kind of surface, especially at the moment. So a 2-year-old, 12 to 15, third career start. I can't believe it's $1.65, to be honest. It's not the strongest of races, but and I couldn't pinpoint who beats it, but I just think it's a silly price for horses with those kind of queries. Went from barrier 9 last start, comes to an inside barrier. So it was the outside barrier of a 9-horse field last start and goes out from in. So it's a completely different setup. I'm against Amelius, and Imperialist is an interesting horse, obviously well found in markets. Wildlife J-Mac, a lot of people come for it. Just gets off that heavy track, probably wasn't in the hunt last start in a race dominated by up on speed, and gets to 15. Got a better grounding coming off that 1,400 metre run, so I can kind of see where the market's got it respected, but I'm laying the favourite here.
Yeah, look, no interest from me, to be honest. I didn't even have a deep dive into it. I thought it looked pretty tricky just from the outside, but all your points, Tommy, I think you'd be silly not to be probably laying that also at $1.65.
Yeah, it's a nice way to look at it. I think if you want to weigh up one, perhaps if you want something of value, it's not a race I'm keen to play into, but there's a horsey number 2, Duke Calzini, who has a similar profile to last year. So it was a 1,500 metre maiden winner at Goulburn. And I know that's a steep rise in class for a race like this, but a winner over the trip, fit, and is a speed influence and going to go forward in a 2-year-old race. There's a lot worse that you can do at double figure odds than number 2, Duke Calzini. But I like the way you're sort of attacking that. It's a $1.65 in a 2-year-old race that's quite open. Hard to get around, let's say. Let's go to race 4, boys. It's the listed Lightning Handicap over 1,000 metres. Petronius won the race last year for Barry Lockwood. BSP'd $9.80, which was 36% better than tote price, if you don't mind. I'm all over it today.
Very good
a week freshen in the paddock for me. Yeah.
You know what I miss from footy is when you used to go through what the race used to be called 20 years ago. Can you bring that back? That was some good data.
I cannot. I think the Phoenix. I don't know if the Phoenix has been around for that long. So
that's good.
The Lightning Handicap.
I like those.
Perhaps. Yeah, I saw Carl sitting in this chair last week on a few of those Instagram shorts, and I was like, "Get out of my chair, mate.
You're back.
Get out."
You're back.
Yeah. The Chief De Beers is one of the key form references for this race. Tommy, with the Golden Boom, who was the winner of that race, holding favouritism. Is he a favourite you want to dive into, perhaps, or are you searching around for a bit of value?
He's not. He's definitely not a favourite at that price I want to be diving into. You mentioned Petronius. Was $9 in the race last year. You mentioned he won it. Goes around at 51s. You're probably getting 80s at Betfair. It's a silly price, in my opinion. He's over the odds. You could do worse than having some small change on him. I don't know if you've had a look at the speed of this race, but it is on for all money here.
1,000 metre race.
Yeah, but they've all got to find positions. So you think the speed will be on, but there's literally 5 or 6 horses that are genuine leaders, genuine 1,000 metres. Petronius draws wide. You've got Hardware Lane drawn outside. Golden Boom up there. Steady Ready's handy. Got to cop a bit of pressure from that. There's a lot of speed here, and I've kind of looked for strong horses late. And there is a few strong horses late that are stepping back in trip, which is an interesting profile for a few of these. Shooting for Gold's one of those, gets J-Mac probably shorter than I wanted in the betting.
Bit of J-Mac tax around
100%,
shooting for gold. Because I wanted to find shooting for gold, but that quote, no thank you.
He's the kind of horse that can easily win this because of the pressure. He'll just absorb the pressure out wide, maybe the right part of the track, drawn wide, charging late. I've ended up with Deport here, number 6 at a massive price, $35. Love the recent Gold Coast barrier trial, showed a bit of speed, went around very softly, finished off that barrier trial in superb fashion. He'll relish a fast speed, doesn't mind 1,000 metres, flies fresh, can be charging late. He's got the ability and he's got the starting price profile that says he's got the ability. Good trainer, can get him back here. As I said, he first up last campaign, he actually was $6 or $6.50 in a race. That Shooting for Gold was in, and Shooting for Gold went around at about $26, so 3 or 4 times the price. And now, first up this campaign, Shooting for Gold's 3 or 4 times less odds, and Depot had no luck in that race. So just the SP profile, I think is a massive price, and I think he can run a really good race each way. I think Extravagant Star should be favourite or much closer in betting to the favourite. As you mentioned, a lot of these come through Golden Boom race. I'm against that form a little bit, and I think Golden Boom's too short. So against Golden Boom, backing Deport each way, and can probably play around Petronius a little bit. I think Shooting for Gold can win, don't lose if he wins, and Extravagant Stars the horse back.
Yeah, nothing from me again, but just going through the race, I didn't dive into it too deeply, but Deport was a horse that certainly interested me, but obviously Tommy's done a bit more homework on him. But yeah, I think he's a horse that's definitely got ability to
He's
be
got
running.
talent to win this.
Yeah, 100%. So if he's at 30 to 1 or something like that, you could do something worse than have something each way on him for sure.
Yeah, currently 34s on corporates for Adam Campton and Andrew Mallion is Deport. I found a bit of value, and it's through the Golden Boom race. I speak of Steady, Ready, and I'm going to back him on an each-way basis. So I'm not sure he loved the bottomless track first up at the Sunny Coast. That was in the Bat Out of Hell, sorry. Has been kept up on the fresher side for this, proven second up performer. Last prep, he won second up at this track trip. Absorbed a fast tempo and was able to be strong late. The data certainly backs that up. So gets in light here, draws very well today. I think can just camp off that hot speed from barrier 7, Steady Ready, and around $15. I'm going to be playing him each way in the Lightning Handicap. Race 5, boys. It's the listed Spear Chief Handicap, 1,500 metres. Last year's race was won by the enigmatic Moonamek for Nick Ryan. BSP at 820, Tommy, 15% better than total price. So BSP on fire at the moment.
Often is, mate.
Yeah. Interesting field here. Yellow Brick, What a Goss, last start, Luskin Star winner, Coast Watch. They head the market. I was with Yellow Brick last start, and it's getting awfully close to DD now for this galloper, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you like him here?
I do, but I think he's a bit tight.
I think he's one of my better bets today. I think he raced like a genuine horse that was looking for 1,500 metres now. He had no excuses last start. He lobbed into a perfect position, just loomed up and ground his way home. But up to 15, I like him. I think this is a weaker race. I think the speed out wide, there's speed from Devastate, Mississippi Prince, and there's a few inside that can ensure a good tempo as well. He's drawn perfectly. J-Mac jumps on. As I said, I think he's ready to roll now, third up. I think he's a major player, and I think that the price is fair enough. So he goes on top for me. Big market watch on Kalena. When the money's been on this horse, and he's shaping as a horse that can improve here, looks ready to go. If there's market support for him, I don't want to lose if he wins. What a Goss produced a career rating, but this is harder in my opinion. So Yellow Brick on top for me, and happy to take the price, Nick.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tommy. He's probably going to be my best bet of the day too. I can see why Nick's a little bit hesitant to go with him. Yeah, exactly. That's right. He has been costly, but absolutely the 1,500 looks a massive tick. J-Mac, you might be getting a bit of J-Mac tax, but it's a positive having him on no matter what. He should camp just behind the speed. He's proven that he's definitely up to winning, a race like this. I think this is definitely a drop in grade. So fair enough, the price. If you were with him last time, you're probably a touch disappointed, but he just lacks that turn of foot when the speed really goes on.
Yep.
But he was absolutely strong on the line. And I think the biggest thing is getting the 1,500.
What's Coast Watch done wrong? So last start winner in that listed Luskin Star, that was at Scone. Recent form certainly suggests good enough for a race like this again.
Yeah, well, ties in. That was a good race. Obviously, beat Amenable there, who went around at some Group 1s that are well supported. It's not a bad form. Colino ties in and probably fitter. It's got a chance. I think Yellow Brick's a better horse, but no, you can make a case for Coast Watch for sure. Just on Yellow Brick, you got the Betfair money back second markets as well. So if you want some insurance, you get a good price in those markets, Nick. So if you run second, you can get might be a good tip for you.
Okay, I don't mind that. I'm not bad at finding a second throughout this Queensland Carnival at the moment, boys. But Yellow Brick for Tommy, Yellow Brick for Reece. I'm just going to shoulder arms at the moment to this. I'm just a bit Yellow Brick gun shy as
That's
we
fair.
stand
You
here.
might get to the day and change your mind.
I could do. I've been known to sort of shop in those areas, Reece Goodwin, when the race just bobs up. Let's go to race number 6 now. It's the listed Queensland Day Stakes. It's for the 3-year-olds, 1,200 metres. Red Card won the race last year for James Cummings. No real BSP prices here. That's just doesn't suit the narrative on this occasion, fair. Tom. Corker of a race, though. Plenty of speed engaged. How are you attacking it?
Yeah, lots of speed. You got Power Ballad, Zia, 2 stablemate. They've got speed, obviously, from that stable. Waterhouse Bot. Rose Noir, Outweighed, Tiger Shark, Avone. There's a bit of speed there. I found it a very tricky race. I went looking for Waterhouse horses, Zia and Power Ballad. Power Ballad I liked off the trials first up, and it was awfully plain last start, and the market knew it would be. It was 6 out of 12.50 or something there, and just went awful on the heavy track. Can bounce back. I've got a bit of opinion of Power Ballad, but needs to improve. Zia, I actually own the mother, Soviet Secret, and she was a much better 2-year-old than she was 3-year-old, so that worries me a little bit. So I found it very tricky. Inhibitions brings different form, can run well. I'm kind of against the favourite, Hedged. I think he's too short, to be honest. He's something about this stable. They go around it under the odds a lot, in my opinion. And I think Hedged is one of those. He's had a boom throughout his career, and it's time for him to deliver. And I'm more against him than with him here.
Do you like how Tom just found an opportunity to somehow
insert
himself? He was this Leviathan owner.
He loves it.
It didn't really have
one of the
that
3
much.
horses.
He does it so smoothly too.
It didn't add that much to the actual strength of the case, but it just had to wedge it in.
He's got connections about the track.
I appreciate it. I've got a friend in Queensland at the moment that said it's good up there, so the weather's fine.
I should be in the lay-bin. People from Queensland sending me photos of the weather.
Yeah,
that's happened way too often.
Look, I'm siding with one that you haven't even mentioned, Tommy. Fortuna, second up, Mick D in the saddle, drawn well. Should be a little bit closer in running. She was great late in that Tiger Shark race. It might not be the strongest form race compared to those ones on the top, but there was nothing wrong with how she hit the line. She should improve second up. She gets to 1,200. And Mick D in the saddle, I think she's a great each way bet. She opened closer to double figures, and she's already been a bit of market support, so I like that. And of course, I love me O'Day hoisted.
You do.
Combination. They didn't do me too well a couple of weeks ago, but hopefully they can bounce back.
They've got a pretty good hand across Saturday, though. The O'Day hoister, they must be if you're tipping them. I didn't mind, fortunately. I just questioned the inside draw. I'm not sure how close Fortuny settles. It might just be a touch tricky. In saying that, I'm backing one that's drawn out in Moravia here. He's only got the one career win to his name, which came on debut, then has been running against the very best of the 3-year-olds and has been holding his own at that level well and truly around the mark. First campaign as a gelding this time in, trialled up beautifully before running well enough at the Sunny Coast on what was a bottomless deck. That was first up. There's some good speed engaged here. Great jockey booking. Mark Zara should be able to find a back to follow. And with the fence off, I think he'll be finding the right part of the track. And I'm quite bullish about his chances, Moravia. He's around 750 at the moment. I'm going to 1/3 that confidently. I think he certainly can run a whole, Moravia. So that's how I'm going to be attacking race number 6, boys, which is the Queensland Day Stakes. Let's take a look at race 7 now. It's the Magic Millions National Classic. It's a fillies and mares race run under weight for age conditions, 1,600 metres. Foxy Frida won this race last year, beat home Kiku and Thalassophile. Gee, Tommy, I've got a little bit of lead in my pencil about this race in terms of who I'm backing. Yes, so I might throw to you blokes first and see how you're seeing the race unfold, and then I'll come back with the winner.
Yeah, okay.
I'll tell you if they're right or not.
Mirabelle Rose leads Zoe's Promise. In my opinion, Osmos up there as well. It's a fascinating race, Nick, and I think I know who you're tipping, but I'm a bit concerned about La Creek. Obviously, New Zealand form. She's proven here in Australia somewhat. She's run fourth in Group 1 in the spring in Melbourne. Eagle Farm is a tricky track and very... you kind of see positives in this, but bar plates front first time at a firm Eagle Farm track in Australia concerns me greatly. So
I'm going to jump in there because I know it says that in our gear changes here.
It hasn't been wearing it.
And I've dug a little deeper.
Yeah.
So
this bloke is so prepared today.
She wore them first up in New Zealand, bar plates first time, and ran second. So she's worn them.
Did they come off when she won the Group 1?
No, they just went on first time last start. So this is second up.
Yep,
prep. So what happens when these internationals come out is they're always listed.
Oh, gelded. That's in the
always listed gelded first time.
I hate that. Why do they all say gelded? They haven't been gelded.
Whatever gear they've been wearing.
It has been gelded.
Whatever gear they've been wearing presents as first time in Australia. So whatever she wore previously, previous preparations here, it's changed this time.
Irrespective, that concerns me. Bar plates on. I know you make a really good point about second time. She's only won one race since 2022 as well. It was a Group 1 2 starts ago, so she's got the right form. But just at the price, I'm more against her than with her. I'm not going to make her my lay of the day or anything. It's a very tricky race. As you mentioned, Foxy Frida won this race last start. She's too short at the moment for me. McDonald, probably a positive booking. You're getting a bit of McDonald tax as well. So I just want to see how the market plays out. I'm scared stiff of her, but I don't want to be with her, really.
Before we go to you, Reece, I might just stay on the creek and we'll tie this up. I just think she's an absolute bet. So
she might be better than.
She's a Group 1 weight for age winner, 2-back. She beat home Aegon, Desert Lightning, and El Vencedor. El Vencedor then went on to win the Group 1 Bone Crusher and beat home Legato, who's a genuine New Zealand star. This is outstanding form for a fillies and mares race of this nature here in Australia. Gains the services of J-Mac, which says a little bit as well. Just looks like a load job for me. I haven't been this confident about one for a little bit.
She is no doubt, I think, the best horse in the race on her best form.
I think it's a pretty average race. I wish there was something I could back to beat her. But
she is unbelievably weighted. I think she's got, 110 rated. I think the next closest is 102, 103, and there's a couple of 80 raters in this race. So on the weight, she's very well in. She was heavily off the map that day. She ran in the Empire Rose in Melbourne.
Oh, it's huge go. Started $1.80.
Yeah. So my little concern is she's still got to do it here in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
But I have heard this morning actually on radio that they think she's travelled over a lot better. She didn't eat brilliantly when she first come over, and she's obviously an older, more seasoned mare now. So, I'm not brave enough to lay her, but I'm certainly going to bet around her. Fall for Cindy, drawn barrier 1, Jamie Carr. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the win at Scone. She also drew low at Scone. They all got away from the fence and she was able to dart up the inside and win pretty softly in the end. Banana Queen's good enough form. I'm just happy to be with her each way. I think she can easily fill a hole and I'm not going to lose. But yeah, I was just wanted to take on the creek a little bit, but certainly not brave enough to lay her because if she has travelled over well, she's obviously the best horse in the race.
I hope she's eaten so I can eat.
Something other than wallpaper.
Yeah,
more responsibly. 1-800-858-858.
You win some, you lose more.
Yeah, that's all relative to strike rate, isn't it? Let's go to...
He'll help you out after last month, don't worry.
Yeah, I know. Old Mr. plus 36% strike rate. Reece Goodwin, the Prince. Hey, let's take a look at the feature. Race 8, the Group 1 Queensland Oaks for the 3-year-old fillies, 2,200 metres. Last year's edition, Damien Oliver rode his 124th Group 1 aboard Amakura for Chris Lees. Who takes it out this year, Tommy Haylock?
Jeez, crazy race. Waller with 8 of the acceptors, was it?
Is it? I think it's 6.
8 of the acceptors.
Oh, right.
So one scratched already, 2 to Levita, and one or two down the bottom of emergency.
And he's soon to have Molly Bloom in his care as well, I think.
Is he?
He's in the Aussie care silks. But,
yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Could be wrong.
He might not want it winning just yet.
McDonald stays with Scarlet Oak. Why wouldn't he? I don't think that win last start of Scarlet Oak, I know I was with her. I don't think that entitles her to be this price up to 2,200 metres off what she did late there. I was pretty soft the last 20 or 30 metres, but a couple of them were going better than her on the line, and that's a little concern. She had a dream run too. It was the seas parted, and she split the field, and she did enough, and she won quite well. But this is harder again. Different pain barrier up 200 metres or so, and a couple of them, like Miss Jolene, ran the fastest 600 and 200 of that race. Mount Buller ran the fastest 400 metres of that race, and the second fastest final 200 metres. Really attacked the line, and I did like what Mount Buller was doing the last 20 metres.
She's probably the forgotten one in the market, isn't she?
Took a lot of ground off Scarlet Oak in the last 20 metres there, I thought. Yeah. So I can't get Scarlet Oak down to that price. I know she's a pretty smart horse, and I said she was a good horse and, after winning that. But you go back and watch the replays, everything kind of went right. Ahuriri is the horse that the market has really honed in on here. Been $8, $7.50, $11 Monday, Tuesday into $5.50. The way the race is run is going to be telling for this horse. She's drawn awfully. Johnny Allen on a Waller horse from a wide barrier. I don't know what to make of that. That's scary.
Bizarre setup.
It is a bizarre setup into $5.50 now. The market loves her, but
it doesn't sound like a positive the way
he's a good staying jockey. But 2,500 metres back to this distance, one at 2,800 metres. The form obviously stacks up really well with Warmonger last start, but ties in through the Adrian Knox to a lot of these that got beaten in the lead up by Scarlet Oak. So I think she's short enough. All of that said, I'm against the three favourites here. I'm against Molly Boom, I'm against Scarlet Oak, and I'm against Ahuriri at $5.50. So I could lay them all. They all can't win. I'm just hoping for a bit of an upset.
It's strange that Craig Williams has jumped off Ahuriri and hopped on our Gold Hope.
I'm not convinced he's hopped off. I think he copped a bit of criticism from Chris.
So it's just
Chris doesn't
standard Craig.
I'm not sure.
Things.
He was unlucky there, wasn't
Chris doesn't say a whole lot, but he did
I recall
little
now.
backhander.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Willow, he might not have got that choice.
Yep.
Well
said.
Bit of me time.
Go for it.
Because I'm pretty busy in this race.
I'm laying them all. Are you?
Well, I'm with you. I don't like many of the favourites either, and I'm going to lay Scarlet Oak. She's fifth run into her first prep. I'm not convinced she stays the trip. I know she won soft enough in the end a couple of weeks ago, but she had the dream run. She's now got gate 15 to deal with this time. Even J-Max come out and said he's not convinced she stays the trip.
Really?
He thinks she's been winning on pure ability.
Yeah.
So I hope this is a bit of a test for her, which I think it is. As I just said, fifth run, first prep, barrier 15, bit of dry ground too. I'm not going to say it's going to be dry ground because the sand profile at Eagle Farm is always just a bit softer than most places. So it is going to be drier than what she's been on though. So when saying all that, laying her, I'm not going to lose. I'm going to have 3 each way plays. I'm not going to lose on Moonlight Magic. She was terrific last week. They did want to run her the week before, but she obviously didn't get a run, so she's going to have to do it on the 7-day turnaround. She trucked around the corner, and she just happened to bump into Warmonger, who's apparently rated the highest Derby win anywhere in Australia in the last decade or something like that.
Can we talk about Warmonger in a bit? I want to discuss
Can I finish?
Yeah. I'm just making a point to the host here.
So Moonlight Magic's one of them. Mayor of Mount Buller, I actually ended up having something on each way last start, and there's absolutely no reason to be off her again. She was terrific. Inside draw, just got to hope she can get away from the inside at this part of the day. And I just can't believe the price of Kind Words. She got put into reverse by Nick Foot's tip last start.
Private Legacy,
that's the horse.
She was good late.
She was terrific, and she was incredibly unlucky for a staying test to then pick up and still weave through late. I can't believe she's 20-1.
Yep,
she does. Yep, exactly. She does have to deal with the wide draw again, so she's probably going to be a mile off. But I just hope it's a true staying contest, and some of these real staying fillies might get over the top of the Scarlet Oak. So 3 horses each way, all at a price, and very happy to lay Scarlet Oak.
3 horses each way. That's 6 bets plus a
lay.
That's 7 bets.
Has that ever happened on this show?
That's a Tommy 7 bet.
They do. I have joined the Hamburger Club, so this might be why.
Yeah. This could be a big hamburger.
That's not just the lot. That's got beetroot.
Can you tell Cliff to
caramelised onions?
Yeah, sorry.
We don't want to worry about the Inferno right now.
Rocket in it.
Flanagan coming up.
Mustard, mayo. That's more than the lot. That's got everything in it.
That's got sides.
That's got
milkshake and chips.
That is Goodwin's game plan right there. Chips, Goodwin's game plan. To be fair, I left those first 2 races alone because I knew I was going to have a busy back end of the card.
Correct.
I'm going what we usually call a hamburger with a lot, which is just back one, lay one.
Yep.
And so it's just a simple sort of dish for me.
We need a trophy.
I'm backing Molly Bloom. She gets a chance to turn the table, Scarlet Oak. So I love the setup to do so. I think it's a huge tick that she's in her second preparation of racing. So presents third up. We're ready to peak after sustaining what was a wide run in the Roses. Scarlet Oak, she's the filly, just question whether it might have all come too soon as well. So you got first preparation, which I think's a negative. And queries on her with the barrier. So she's never drawn poorly. She's never been on top of the ground. And Molly Bloom looks a runner that's going to benefit from being on top of the ground. So I think there's enough there out of the Roses for Molly Bloom to be turning the table on Scarlet Oak. So I'll be backing number 1 Molly Bloom and laying number 4 Scarlet Oak.
If Scarlet Oak wins, is she your most hated horse in the country?
It's not hated. It's just going to be...
Costly.
Costly horse, yeah.
I think he was nearly going to go with hate.
Yeah, I was
you always hated it.
Yeah.
He's okay at the moment.
I mean,
but if she
I won't hate her. I'll hate myself.
I
think there's a key difference there. Before we move on to the next, do you want to talk about Warmonger, Tom, and the win that he produced in the Derby? And I guess position in run and allowing a horse to do its thing and getting a terrific jockey, barrier jockey on like Blake Shin makes a world of difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's no knock on Damien Lane, who's world class.
Shin's riding fantastic.
Yeah, Shin is on fire.
What did you make of the win? Like, do you think it was as good a win as the ratings expert? I know the margin was incredible to the eye. I just thought the way that everything panned out and everything went right for it on that day, and that's what happened. I hate those races where a leader goes out at a strong tempo. The backmarkers simply can't get into it. They spend too much energy trying to get into the race. And and Warmonger just had that right run in transit just behind the speed, and everything else had spent so much energy to get around the bend to get into the race that it was just left there.
I don't think Warmonger got to where he did in run, though, for free. I think he spent a little bit in the first couple of furlongs to get where he was. And even hearing Michael Kent Jr. on radio through the week, he was a little concerned in the first 400 metres of how many carrots Warmonger reduced to get there. But Blake Shin went in with a plan, and it was to ride this horse more positively and allow it to roll. And look, to the conditions of the track, of course, we see these big gaps back throughout these staying races when the tracks are playing like that. Yeah, we do.
These tracks at the moment.
It's to answer your question, Tom, for me, it's a race that I'm sort of just taking on merit from the eye. I don't really want to dive into the data too much in this particular 3-year-old race, and just appreciate what a fantastic win and what a fantastic ride it was, culminating a pretty frustrating preparation for Warmonger backers as well and connections.
Well done to Michael Felgate.
Yep, good on him. Now, I'm all for... I hate when people pot jockeys because it's hard to be out there, but I won't name names. I saw someone tweet about how many carrots Blake Shin saved in this race. And it was 4 deep into the first corner with no cover. Still worked. Don't get me wrong, Blake Shin is a terrific rider, but I think I'm going to give a lot of credit to the horse here. I think he's done a massive job. He's won by 10 lengths, and he was 4 wide, no cover into the first corner, still working up off a solid speed.
Is Coco's son an absolute star?
Could be.
And that's why Hariri's been well found in Brisbane.
It all mixes up, doesn't it? That race is all of a sudden...
But then Hariri ties into a lot of these through Merrimount Buller and whatnot through... the Adrian Knox. So, yeah, the form lines, that seems like an aberration, in my opinion, an outlier into the data, that margin. But
I hope it's right, because we need a good,
it'd be
good
nice,
staying 3-year-old that's going to turn into a good staying 4-year-old. And
if that goes around $1.20 next start and they're expecting to win by 10, I'll be laying it.
I've got a feeling he won't be $1.20.
Yeah,
that's a fair call, and it's a tough job to, I guess, buck the trend of history out of these derbies to go on with it as well, because we haven't seen a lot.
Really interests me is he's rated higher than Hototsu, and Hototsu was, without injury, going to be the next sort of big thing. And this horse is now rated more than him, but whether you can take that out of this Eagle Farm track,
I think out of that race, like Kovalika won it last year, the Derby. But outside of that, I think the only subsequent Group 1 winner was probably Mr. Quickie out of the Queensland
Russian
Derby.
Oh, sorry, Queensland. Sorry.
Yeah, yep. So it's
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just off the top of my head. I'm sure people will tweet in if I'm wrong, which
they will.
Been wrong before.
He has to be.
They might even DM you.
Yeah,
he has to be short off, because you said ratings and times and stuff. If they're the ratings guys that do a lot of late market making and obviously they will have him short off that.
But as you've said, it's already domino effect through Ahiri and Coco's son at Adelaide race, so that all the money's come for him already. So it's already started. Really.
I think we just need to put a lid on it though and park the Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup plans just off that.
Isn't he
just
second favourite or something?
It was. I heard that. Yeah,
wish you could lay at that.
Outrageous areas. Hey, let's take a look at the last race on the card. Race number 9, the Group 2 Moreton Cup over 1,200 metres. Prince of Boom won before also going on to win the Healy Stakes 3 weeks later. So that was during last year's Queensland Carnival. How are we attacking the last? Is it a race we're confident in, boys?
Reasonably confident in my top tip. I'm not diving into to bet on this horse crazy, but I've got him firmly on top. And just from a speed perspective, Zarastro, Jigsaw, Insurrection looks to be a decent tempo. So it's a good way to finish. I've got Valana on top. Zarastro and Valana met. Come through in the BRC sprint at Doomben on May 25. Valana was unlucky there. I love what he did late, just weaving through. He didn't have the clearest of passages. He ran a close 6, can definitely turn the tables on Zarastro, dropping 3 kilos on him as well. So I think he clearly turns the tables on Zarastro. He gets the tongue tie on. He gets J-Mac on. Decent map, I think. He'll just have to work away from the fence at the right time. But I've got him on top clearly. Mizzou needs heavy. What you need has ability.
I was going to ask you that. Does Valana also need rain affected?
No.
Is he more effective?
Gets through the wet really well. He might be more effective, but I think that the firm track will be okay for him. And as you said, it won't be rock hard. No. He just needs a bit of sting out. So I think the track will be okay for him. All that pizzazz gets to 1,200. Could suit. Found the line well over 1,000 last start. Actually has a good record on all surfaces and at the 1,200. I went looking for what you need. Has ability, wasn't far away in a Group 1 Goodwood when we last saw him. 3rd fastest final 200 metres of that race. And Opal Ridge, she's just a winner down the bottom there. Her last start rating has her right in the mix. But Valana on top for me to finish things off.
I'm completely confused about the prices in some of these. Now, it's got to go here first. Iona Merck, I think he's in at Randwick too, and he's well in the market at Randwick. Still no decision yet. But Iona Merck, I'm a huge Opal Ridge fan, and I was with her first up.
Can Merckx swim? Can Mercedes? Is it a 4-wheel drive Mercedes going to Randwick?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Checking
if they're going that way,
because it's about a heavy 38.
Yeah, so that's why I'm hoping they'll he's on the truck on the way up to Eagle Farm because he's a crazy price at 19-1. He was equally as good as Opal Ridge, if not better. He probably spotted Opal Ridge 2 or 3 around the corner and narrowed it down to a length. Opal Ridge yet to win second up. Got to be some type of query. You got to take 480. You're getting closer to 20-1 Iona Merck, who was 2 from 3 second up. They're both going to be
1,200 second up's the query, I think.
What's that query?
Just whether he'll see out a stronger. I think there'll be a strong. I think Opal Ridge is a stronger 1,200 metre horse than Iona Merck, in my opinion.
Okay,
she's fine. One over further, but yeah.
I'm happy to play at that price though to find that out. I don't think they'd be setting him up there just to bowl around. I was with Valana last start. You're right, Tommy. He was a little bit unlucky, but I had more hope for that. I was actually a little bit critical of how quiet Nashville was coming into the straight. It's like he was waiting for runs to appear instead of trying to make something happen, and he was.
Sounds like him too.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I thought for someone who could be very vigorous on a horse, he was waiting very patiently, and I think he sort of cost the horse getting into a run a bit earlier. So he can no doubt win. You get the J-Mac tax barrier 2 by the last race. Going to be an interesting setup as well. But
he'll drift too if the fence is off, and you might get a much better price.
But it's just the price difference between Iona Merck and Opal Ridge after their last start in the Hortensia Stakes. I thought it was crazy, so I'm going each way. Iona Merck.
I'm going to back and lay here, and they're both through the same race, and I'm going to be backing Insurrection, and I'm going to be laying Opal Ridge. They come through the Hortensia Stakes, which was obviously won by Opal Ridge, and she's just an absolute fresh beast. It's important to note she's yet to win second up, and if you look at her ratings profile, she actually regresses every time she's second up as well. And now she's got to travel to Eagle Farm, and sure, if she holds her first up rating, she probably blows these away, but I don't think she does. And then you look at Insurrection, who profiles the opposite to that, who always improves second up, is a good second up horse, gets 3 kilos off her from that run, drawn 1, makes his own luck up on the speed. I think he's a great bet at 750. I'm taking the Hortensia Stakes form line as the one I want to be with, and I'm going to back and a lay play in the 9th, boys.
You might get a better price again.
It's one as well, so hopefully.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it that find the top and find the best part of the track first as well.
Yep. There's a bit of speed, like Jigsaw's quick, drawn wide, Zarastro's quick, so he might camp in behind them, but you should get an opportunity to work off the fence late in the day.
Let's head to our lay streak now, fellas. And as Tom made mention several times throughout the show, that I did lay Scarlet Oak when Scarlet Oak won. So I'm back on $100, boys. And my lay for the lay streak this week, I'm going to be, who am I going to be laying? Scarlet Oak again. Because
Love it.
Because there's some sort of definition around insanity, I believe, and
Yes.
it could be me. It could just be a picture of me in the Oxford Dictionary. But I'll be laying Scarlet Oak. I think there's a little bit more to overcome in the Group 1 this time around. Back on top of the ground, drawn out wide. I'm really liking Molly Bloom's chances. Reece, what about you?
What have I got to spend there, Footy? Have you got that number?
$564.18.
Sounding good. And I'm with you, mate. We're going Scarlet Oak. She's a lay.
Streak in numbers, boys.
Am I jumping on?
3 reasons. 5th run first prep, back onto drier ground, and J-Mac's not convinced she's a proper staying Fillies. So I think they're going to test her out this week, and hopefully Footy and I, and Tom possibly, are going to be in the right corner.
Scarlet joke.
What am I doing? I'm feeling so much pressure here. I want to be against Golden Boom. Race 4 number. I'm actually laying quite a few. I think Golden Boom's way too short.
Just one, Tom. We just need
Please.
one.
Scarlet Oak.
Oh, I love
Why
it.
not?
I love it.
Yeah.
This is good.
You all go down with the ship.
Outstanding.
Can't win, can it? It's probably a moral now.
We weren't going to go that far, but now you've stopped it. Now he's going to win.
That's a good call. Let's recap our best bets. I don't like finishing on a negative, pulling the horse's
good.
tail
I like
to finish
that.
the show.
Good
I want to leave the layback family with something positive to go out on. Tommy, who's your best bet? Who are you most confident about this Saturday?
Best bets and most confident are different things because I'm deeper each way at 30.
So that's
40.
your best result.
Best result, best overlay. It's probably rated $15, but at 35, it's worth a bet. So you can't be confident if you're rating something $15, can you? But great bet.
I do it.
Oh, it's a 6% chance of winning or something. So
I think probably going to be one of your other best bets is race 5 Eagle Farm, number 3 Yellow Brick.
yeah, that's probably the most confident.
Yeah, and I'm going to stick with that. He's probably the one I'm most confident with. J-Mac on, good barrier up to 1,500. I think it's his time to shine anyway. He's probably a D-Day horse, but I think he can certainly win.
Yep, I'm race 7, number 1, La Creek, the Group 1 weight for age. Winner from 2 back. Very bullish, boys. Don't need to go into any more detail than that.
Just a couple of things.
Yes.
Obviously, we've got the cashback second markets, which is going to be fascinating. The watch Betfair late on Saturday because horses like the Creek and whatnot are fascinating market movers. So there's a few key horses that are first up or coming off some interesting runs that the market might have a big impact on how the race.
The exchange will know if she's been eating or not.
It's really interesting.
It's good call.
Watch the markets.
Reece, any runners coming up over the next few days?
Yeah, we're going to attend the Swan Hill Carnival.
Good.
But it's on Saturday, so it's like the really small meeting.
What's
for the
big
carnival.
day?
Probably Sunday. Sunday. Not going well, am I? Sunday, the Cup. They got the Golden Topaz on tomorrow, and then it's a pretty ordinary meeting on Saturday. No, unfortunately, up and back.
I think Pressdown wins that race too.
Pressdown. Is that Hardacres?
Yeah,
from
Hardacre,
Adelaide?
Neil Farley on wide barrier.
I was
goes
going to say
forward, hard to
calamari,
catch.
but Neil Farley.
Yeah,
Look at him.
Have you done anything but
I am
form
prepared this week, boys. Yes, all the very best across the weekend, fellas. It's been a lot of fun today. It's been good to get back in the chair while Carl's off looking for his couch. We will see you all next week on Layback with Betfair.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.